What if everything you thought you knew about the Passion of the Christ missed the point? Millions watched, yet almost no one understood what Mel Gibson was truly trying to say. A film that enraged Hollywood, defied critics, and sparked controversy for decades was never meant to entertain. It was meant to awaken. Tonight, we uncover the hidden truths, the overlooked symbolism, and the extraordinary events that happened both on screen and behind the scenes. This is the story Hollywood tried to bury, the story that changed lives, and the story that proves sometimes art demands sacrifice, just like the story it tells. Are you ready to see what everyone else missed? It was a remarkable film, but from the very beginning there was resistance. Mel Gibson appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast to discuss the sequel to The Passion of the Christ. While millions had watched the original, almost no one truly grasped what Gibson was attempting to convey beneath its surface. Years later, during a conversation that caught everyone off guard, Joe Rogan paused, struck silent by a revelation most audiences had completely overlooked. Tonight, we delve into the hidden details, the subtle symbolism, and the profound meaning behind one of the most controversial films ever made. To understand what Gibson exposed, we need to start at the beginning. The Passion of the Christ was never intended to be just another biblical epic. Gibson had no interest in sweeping cinematography or predictable storytelling. He wanted something raw, something visceral, something that would seize audiences by the throat and refuse to let go until they truly understood the magnitude of sacrifice. The idea was that we're all responsible for this, Gibson explained to Rogan. That his sacrifice was for all mankind. For Gibson, the film was a personal mission. Christ's suffering was not merely a historical event. It was a living message with profound implications for every person watching. He spent years immersed in the four Gospels, analyzing every verse describing Jesus' final hours. But he went further than any filmmaker had dared, drawing from ancient texts, theological treatises, and hidden interpretations. He sought not just to depict events, but to reveal their spiritual weight, the invisible battles raging between good and evil, the human suffering intertwined with divine purpose. The opening scene sets the tone immediately. In the Garden of Gethsemane, darkness presses down. Jesus kneels in prayer as his closest companions succumb to sleep around him. The vulnerability is staggering. Here is divinity fully incarnate, yet entirely human, sweating blood as an unbearable burden crushes him. Shadows twist and writhe as Satan appears, whispering doubts. A serpent rises, only for Jesus to crush it beneath his heel. A direct echo of Genesis, the first promise of redemption. Every frame is deliberate. Every shadow, every line of dialogue carries profound theological meaning, rewarding those who look closely. This was cinema that demanded engagement. It demanded reflection. It demanded courage. The Passion of the Christ was not for casual viewing. It was an experience that forced audiences to confront truths far larger than themselves. And Hollywood noticed. During his conversation with Rogan, Gibson revealed why the film faced such intense resistance from the outset. He had identified a pattern, a silent, powerful double standard. Films exploring diverse religious traditions often received nuance, respect, and careful treatment. But Christian stories were met with skepticism, dismissal, and sometimes outright hostility. Such projects were labeled old-fashioned, overly serious, disconnected from modern audiences. The industry assumed no one wanted this kind of story anymore. Gibson felt the pushback personally. Studios that should have been eager to finance a project from an Oscar-winning director went cold. Phone calls went unanswered. Meetings were canceled. Longtime collaborators kept their distance. The message was clear, this story, and the man telling it was not welcome. Hollywood didn't just doubt its commercial viability, they opposed the content itself. But Gibson refused to step back. For him, this was never about ambition. It was a mission rooted in faith. When traditional funding vanished, he financed the film himself. He assembled a team of believers willing to face controversy and take risks. The result stunned the world. The Passion of the Christ became one of the highest-grossing R-rated films ever, proving that audiences craved daring, uncompromising storytelling, even when Hollywood insisted they didn't. The production itself defied ordinary expectations. Jim Caviezel, portraying Jesus, endured physical suffering that no special effect could replicate. The cross he carried weighed over 30 pounds. One take dislocated his shoulder. During the scourging scene, he was struck by the whip twice, once with such force it left his hands raw and bleed. Aiding, his pain was real, and it translated onto the screen with undeniable authenticity. Then came the unexplainable. Lightning struck on set multiple times. Assistant director John Michelini was hit twice, and Caviezel reportedly struck during the crucifixion scene walked away unharmed. In biblical tradition, lightning often signals divine power or judgment, appearing at pivotal moments in Scripture. The crew could not explain these occurrences. The line between the natural and the supernatural felt perilously thin. Transformations went beyond the physical. Luca Lionello, who played Judas, began the project as an atheist. By the end, he had become a believer, profoundly changed by the exploration of betrayal and redemption. Maya Morgenstern, portraying Mary, was secretly pregnant during filming, a quiet symbol of life, death, resurrection, and renewal, intertwined with the story she helped bring to life. Gibson even shared reports of mysterious healings. A young girl with severe epilepsy reportedly went a full month without seizures after visiting the set. Others claimed restored senses or inexplicable emotional shifts. Whether divine intervention, coincidence, or psychological impact, the cast and crew left convinced they had witnessed something far larger than a film. One scene captures Gibson's vision perfectly. After the crucifixion, Jesus' body rests in Mary's arms, echoing Michelangelo's Pieta. It portrays grief and grace, devastation and dignity, human sorrow intertwined with divine purpose. It transcends religion to touch universal experiences of love, loss, and hope. Critics were divided, audiences transformed. Roger Ebert, one of the most influential critics of his time, awarded the film 4 stars, calling it the most violent and intense film he had ever seen. He admitted he had never truly grasped the depth of Christ's suffering until experiencing Gibson's unflinching portrayal. Other critics praised its sincerity, ambition, and artistry, likening Gibson's vision to the great masters of spiritual cinema. But controversy never waned. Religious leaders expressed concern that certain portrayals might reinforce dangerous historical stereotypes. Gibson insisted his intent was to depict humanity's collective responsibility, not assign blame. He added imaginative scenes, like Judas tormented by demonic children, as symbolic interpretations meant to convey spiritual truths, not literal history. His cinematic language, symbolism, and visual metaphors explored guilt, redemption, and spiritual conflict, walking a fine line between historical fidelity and theological reflection. Reactions varied. Some were spiritually transformed, others troubled, few left indifferent. The intensity of debate only fueled public curiosity. Church groups organized mass screenings. Sermons analyzed its meaning. Media outlets dissected every frame. Gibson had created something impossible to ignore. And he is not finished. On Rogan's podcast, he revealed that for 6 or 7 years, he and screenwriter Randall Wallace have been developing a new, even more ambitious project, a film about the resurrection. It will not follow a linear narrative but explore the cosmic struggle between good and evil, spanning from the fall of angels to the death of the last apostle. This is not merely a sequel. It is an audacious expansion into territory mainstream cinema has never truly explored. Gibson aims to show how the resurrection connects every moment before and after, delving into ancient texts, theological debates, and historical research to challenge audiences to see familiar events in a new light. For him, the Gospels are history, testified by apostles who died rather than deny what they witnessed. Who dies for something they know is a lie? He asked Rogan. That question, Gibson believes, attests to the supernatural reality at Christianity's heart. The resurrection defies reason. Someone executed, buried, and then walking from a tomb challenges everything we understand about life and nature. Gibson spent years accepting it because others believed, but over time he sought personal understanding. That journey shapes all his work. He does not preach to the choir. He wants skeptics and believers alike to wrestle with the deepest questions of existence, meaning, and what comes after death. What truly stunned Rogan wasn't a single revelation. It was the full weight of Gibson's truth. That bringing the passion of the Christ to life required standing nearly alone against an industry determined to bury it. That unexplainable, supernatural events occurred on set. That art created with unwavering conviction can transform lives in ways commercial entertainment never can. That faith sometimes demands suffering, and that telling certain stories requires risking everything you've built. These truths pierce the noise of a cynical age. They remind us that sincerity still exists in a world dominated by calculation and image management, that some create art for reasons beyond profit, That conviction can still move mountains. Some of the most controversial stories are precisely the ones that need to be told. The Passion of the Christ forces us to confront suffering, sacrifice, and redemption without comfort or easy answers. It challenges us to wrestle with the nature of humanity, divine purpose, and the cost of salvation, questions that most entertainment avoids. More than 2 decades later, the film remains divisive. Some hail it as a spiritual masterpiece. Others see deep flaws. Both views have merit. Great art provokes strong reactions because it touches something essential within us, something we cannot dismiss. The Gibson-Rogan conversation revealed truths most celebrity interviews never approach. Behind every controversial work lies human struggle, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment. Reality contains mysteries materialist frameworks cannot explain. Authentic vulnerability, even from polarizing figures, can move hearts and open minds. That is what everyone missed about The Passion of the Christ. It was never just a movie. It was a man betting everything on a story the world tried to silence and winning. The hidden truth is no longer hidden. It is there for anyone willing to look, to listen, and to be transformed by stories that matter. Stories that cost something real. Stories that change lives.